Thank you, Bart. Friday Night Heights continues here on the SEC ESPN Network. We've got the 16th ranked Arkansas Gymbacks set for an SEC showdown with the 15th ranked Georgia Gymdogs. I'm Melissa Lee alongside Courtney Kupets-Carter. Casey Smith will join us momentarily. The road to locking down one of the top seeds in the top session of the SEC Championship in March begins tonight. Both coaches made it clear, Courtney, they don't just want a good score tonight, they want the win.
That's right, Melissa, and you have two very confident teams in this arena. UGA had to overcome several falls last week, but Coach Durante said after how they handled those falls, she believes in them more tonight. And then Coach Cook said their first step to getting there is the Hogs beat the Dogs, and he feels like he has a team that can do that this season.
We've got a lot of talent on the floor tonight. Arkansas will start on vault, Georgia on bars, as we take a look at our Star Watch.
Right, Sydnie McGlone is a freshman who can score big, and Brittany Rogers on bars potentially has the most difficult routine in the country.
Arkansas is the second-ranked team in the country, on vault. They're throwing out all Yurchenko fulls this season. And getting us started is Leah MacMoyle, the sophomore, a fixture in the Gymbacks lineup last year, returning with her Yurchenko full this year.
That is a great start, Melissa. As you can see, she was straight in line with that ball when she went. Great body position. And the most important thing, watch that landing. You can see her coming off that table, great positioning in the air, and just a small hop. That's great for the beginning of the season.
She's also training 1.5s, but won't put it out tonight, obviously, maybe a little bit later in the season. And Georgia, they will be on bars to start this one off. Tied for 6th in the country. This is their best event. Natalie Vaculik will get them started, the sophomore. Great lead off, according to Dana Durante. Just got to remember her pacing.
That's right. For her, it's all about one skill at a time. If she goes a little too advanced in one movement, it really throws the entire bar routine off. And you can see those handstands. That last one there was just a little bit short. That will be a deduction. Just the dismount left. Nice dismount, but you can see those legs coming apart. Also another deduction and a step on the landing.
The rules for college gymnastics. Home team event order, vault, bars, beam, and floor. That is Arkansas today. The away team order, bars, vault, floor, and beam. That is how Georgia will get started. 6 gymnasts per team compete in each event, and the 5 best scores count. The lowest is dropped for each team's event total. Paige Zaziski off and running on vault for Arkansas.
Beautiful. One thing you really want to look for is the height they get off the table. She really did get the height you want. We want to check the distance, though, because it's not just the height. Beautiful there. Great distance and had a little bit of a pike down. You want a straight body all the way through in those vaults.
Well, some of the new rules changes this year. We'll see some points of emphasis and what teams need to do differently according to those rules. And here's a look at them for the uneven bars.
That's right. You want to look out for dynamic releases, smooth transitions, and all skills will have clean body positions. And like I was mentioning before, those hit handstands vertically.
Ready to go on bars.
Having a little bit maybe of a judges taking a little long on that last routine.
Braie Speed, and it's the first time that we've gotten a chance to see her. That's Gracie Cherrey, for Georgia. She's on bars. Won't do vault or floor this year because of an ankle issue. Really dynamic on bars, though.
She is, and she is a freshman this year, and you can see just the nerves kind of setting in with these new bars. Her handstands have been slightly low, just the dismount. Wow, that is a very difficult dismount, the double layout.
And getting to the dismount, it is difficult, and it's all about, once again, swinging at your own pace.
That's right, and she let go a little bit early and threw it back. That's why her legs separate a little bit, and judges are on the side of the bar. Most of the time they will see when legs come apart, but sometimes they don't.
So we saw the points of emphasis with the new rules on bars. How about on vault, Courtney?
That's right, there's an increase in difficulty. So most of these vaults, the Yurchenko full, are no longer valued at a 10.0, meaning they can only get the highest score of a 9.95 if done. Beautiful.
Great start for Braie Speed. Again, the first time we've been able to call her name. She got injured at the beginning of the year last year. Looking pretty good tonight, though.
Wow, you have that brace on that knee, but her positioning in the air is crucial, and it was gorgeous. Just the slight hop is the only deduction I saw on that vault.
Nice Yurchenko layout full. Very consistent with it. Again, the brace helpful, but as Coach Cook told us, her knee is very strong.
That's right. She's ready for all these elements.
So as a look at Sydnie Snead, and this is somebody Dana Durante is really high on, very proud of her. Sideline with a significant back injury last year. Didn't think she was going to compete. Now she's on 3 events.
That's right. You just watch her gymnastics and you see something special in her overall in every event. Slight little bit on that handstand. You can see it wasn't perfect. In vertical, let go. Oh, she let go a little bit early off that bar. Almost looked like she peeled. Had to put a knee down on that landing. That will be 3/10 deduction at least. There you see she comes off and just really didn't have the rotation because she didn't finish the kick on the end of that release.
Obviously a score, Dana Durante and Georgia is hoping they can drop. And now Sydnie McGlone ready to go on vault, trying to match a career high for Braie Speed, who had a 9.8. She's an exciting freshman, Sydnie McGlone. Put up some big scores in her debut in Cancun.
That was definitely better than her warm-up today. She was a little off the side, and when you go out of your direction of the vault, you do get a deduction. That was straight in line.
She opened up the season hitting for a 9.875 2 weeks ago. And this freshman, Mark Cook loves her so much because she's so competitive. He calls her a gamer.
That's right, and that you will notice that as she continues. Being a freshman, it's a little bit difficult, even if you are a gamer, and she has a lot of potential.
This is Rachel Schick, junior for Georgia. She fell on bars last week, scored a 9.25. Her career high, though, is a 9.9, so back in the lineup here today. And Dana didn't change much around, even with some of the mistakes they saw throughout their meet at Michigan. She's trying to build some confidence.
That's right. She said it's too early to change these lineups. These girls have had one competition to get under their belts in this lineup. I want to see if these lineups are where they should be. Can they do this?
And there's a look at Dana Durante in her 4th season with Georgia. She's been to the Super 6 twice in her tenure with the team, looking to get back. They finished in the prelims last year in Dallas, so we've got some issues with the scoring and the judges. And, you know, everybody's working the kinks out, right, Courtney?
That's right, and when they have something like that, it is great that they talk to each other because it seems like you never know. Judges is so subjective, and something must have happened on that dismount, whether she put her hand down, just her knee, or missing a skill.
Looking at Snead's score, that is the hold up here. Snead, by the way, with a 9.2. So again, a score Georgia's hoping they can drop.
Here we go with Rachel Schick now. She has a beautiful swing. Just getting that confidence in, and so far she looks like she's on it. Beautiful release there. That's one of the requirements we are looking for. Into her transition. Now that is one solid handstand. You could definitely see the line. Difficult double layout dismount, stuck landing. That is a routine that will hopefully move their momentum forward for this team. Here we go again. Watch this handstand. Coming in. Boom. She even holds it with a movement. That tells the judges, look, I hit it, there's no deduction there. And this dismount, those legs were so tight. She did not move them, and that is a really good routine. There's not much deduction.
Smiles all around, and why not? She fell again last week. No problems here now, and here comes Amanda Wellick ready to vote for Arkansas.
Wow. The crowd went wild, and there's a reason for that. That was the height, the distance you were looking for, and most of all, her body position. I love the way she vaults because it's so tight. It does not move, and that's why she comes straight down on those feet for an almost almost stuck landing. I don't know if I'd quite give it that. I saw a little bit of a feet movement.
She stuck it in Cancun, a slight movement here today, but Mark Cook, loving the junior, says she's one of the top gymnasts on the team and one of the top all-arounders in the country. And that is a look at Brandie Jay, the senior for Georgia. Talking about top kids on the team, she's one of them for Georgia. And Dana told us that Brandie gets bored with her routines and has changed it up on bars yet again this year, adding some skills from her freshman and her sophomore seasons.
That's pretty impressive when you can continue to change release moves. There's one transition release from the high bar to the low bar. Coming up is her big release move. Full twisting to Kaja. You don't see that often. But she said, you know what? It's easy for me.
Yeah, she's got a tough dismount here, double layout full, not bad.
That is a skill you will see at the Olympic level. That's not something that's typical for the college level. And here it is again. So it's 2 laid out flips with 1 full twist in the air. And Dana said, you know what? It's difficult, but she likes it. She can go harder on this element instead of holding back on just a plain double layout.
And she missed the landing in the Michigan meet, and she just got a little bit ahead of herself, and Dana said you just got to be patient. A little bit more patient here today as we see Samantha Nelson, the junior for Arkansas.
All right, now on that ball, you really want to watch the hand. She almost, it looked like, didn't have hand pressure on the ball before she twisted. I'm glad she made it around, but you can, right here, she's just her fingertips were on, and that made her pike down and off to the side. So there will be quite a big deduction to her vault.
Mark Cook wasn't sure she would actually be in the vault lineup this week. Had been working to earn a spot in the lineup, got in tonight. We will check on her score as it comes in. And this is a look at Brittany Rogers, the senior, 6-time All-American, 2-time SEC champion on bars and beam in 2013. Back with the team after sitting over in Canada training for the World Championships and just got back with the squad in December.
That's right, and because she's training for Canada, she's doing a lot of difficult skills. That there is a connection, very, very difficult. It's for her Olympic routine. And as long as she does it with good form, Dana is letting her do that. Again, you see these release moves are just insane.
On the elite bars, no less. Wow, what a great finish for Georgia and Brittany Rogers. And right now, it's almost as if she can do no wrong with the elite skills she's bringing to the table.
Which is very difficult because training those elite skills and competing them week after week is going to take a toll on her body. You can see there, she didn't quite have full control. But it was a beautiful routine.
A very good start for both of these two teams in their respective SEC opener. We will break down the first rotation with scores and highlights when we come back. The second meet of our Friday Night Heights doubleheader underway. It is the Georgia Gymdogs on top of Arkansas here with a score of 49-2 to 48-975 for the Hogs. And Georgia looking pretty good on bars to get things started. You see the big score at the bottom, Brittany Rogers with a 9-9.
That's right, and Brittany Rogers has difficult skills. She is not just doing your minimum difficulty, she is jam-packed. So to get a 9-9 means she is a good bar worker.
And all the Yurchenko fools for Arkansas, not bad across the line.
That's right, they had great height. They just had a little bit of problem on their landings.
And with that, we welcome you to our view here of the competition floor. I'm Melissa Lee, very happy to be joined once again alongside my partner, 9-time NCAA individual champion with the Georgia Gymdogs and Olympian Courtney Kupets-Carter. And Courtney, both of these coaches, similar goals. It's the goal every year. They want to win an SEC championship, win a national championship. But this season, with the talent that they've got, the pieces are there to get there.
They have definitely increased their talent with their freshmen, but they also have very experienced seniors on that team to lead them. So far, Georgia has really been performing well on the bars, and I think that's really going to help them forward.
We saw quite a few stuck landings for the Gymdogs in that opening rotation.
That's right, that was a step there. But after that, here they go. These dismounts are not easy. She gets the height, and she lands it.
Well, the night is young. We've got a lot more great gymnastics on the way as we get set for the second rotation here in Fayetteville. When we come back, Brandie Jay will try to hit her big Yurchenko 1.5, and Paige Zaziski will try to hit on bars for the Hogs. You are watching Friday Night Heights on the SEC ESPN Network. On the SEC ESPN network, we've got a women's college basketball triple header beginning at 1 Eastern with Auburn taking on number 9 Kentucky. Then at 3, it's number 24 Missouri versus Arkansas. And finally at 5 Eastern, Georgia battles Alabama. All of those games are streaming live on Watch ESPN. Well, back here inside Barnhill Arena, the 15th ranked Georgia Gym Dogs on top of Arkansas with a score of 49-2 to the Gymbacks 48-9-7-5. Getting ready for rotation 2 here. So far, no signs of rust for Arkansas, who hasn't competed in almost 2 weeks, which was actually just enough time to get over all the fun they had in Mexico. For more on that, we send it over to the 3rd member of our crew, Casey Smith.
Well, Melissa, it's hard to believe that anyone couldn't have fun in Mexico, and Arkansas did absolutely that. They traveled in on Friday, competed in the Canadian Classic on Saturday, where they finished second to Michigan, and then they got Sunday off. They got to relax at the beach, got to bond as a team, and Amanda Wellick came home with a much-deserved orange sombrero, which is pretty cool if you ask me.
There it is, looking pretty good. She's pulling that off pretty well, I think.
I'd take that over a medal any day.
The orange and everything. Wellick, of course, had a good start there in that meet with a 39-3 all-around score. We will see here on bars in this second rotation with a couple of heavy hitters you like, Courtney.
That's right. And on bars, Paige Zaziski. Now, she's capable of a 9.95. And Brandie Jay on vault, she excels in her difficulty.
Well, on vault, Georgia, 17th in the nation. They will throw 3. Yurchenko, 1.5 with a 10-0 start value here tonight. And in the leadoff spot for Georgia, it will be Ashlyn Broussard, the junior from Plano, Texas. She's been doing a Yurchenko full the past 2 years, something we will see tonight, but she's yet another gymnast that's working to upgrade to that 1.5 to get that 10-0 start value.
That's right, they're doing it in practice. You'll hear many gymnasts, but they're competing the fulls for that consistency and going for those landings. It's early in the season, but you still are working for the landings. The height on that ball is impeccable. Comes from the run. She really has a nice speed onto that board and table. Beautiful height, which really helps that landing. Great start for Georgia.
Looking to build off of that first rotation. Arkansas trying to gain some momentum here. Keara Glover will get them started over on bars. She's a senior for the team, has gone through a lot with her open heart surgery a few years ago, but she trained hard in the preseason, working on her handstands and really just being more consistent.
Consistency is huge on bars. One movement off, and it really does affect all of the other skills, so they really need to have a nice swing from one element to the next.
Arkansas is pretty good on bars, tied for 10th in the country. That's a good start.
She definitely had what she needed for a 10-0 start value, and that landing, you don't want to take any deduction, and she didn't. There was a little bit of a toe and leg separation. You'll want to watch for the form. If their legs separate or bend, or their feet actually aren't pointed, it is a deduction. But that landing, that's what you're going for on bars.
And that's what you're looking for in a leadoff. So far, both leadoffs pretty good here to open up this second rotation. Let's a look at Natalie Vaculik, the sophomore.
Again, a great landing, but you see the legs separate in the air. She'll need to continue to work on that form, but definitely getting better on vault from last year. You'll see right there, they separate before she continues.
Ashlyn Broussard with a 9.825 score so far. Keara Glover with a 9.775. And here is Erin Freier, the senior. Mark Cook, very pleased with her improvements on bars from last season to now. Her execution with her handstand and Shapash much better.
Sorry, right there was that first handstand. Definitely in a vertical position. Her legs together on that backswing was something she worked on. There's her transition release to the low bar. She has completed her 2 releases, getting ready for her dismount. She's excited. It was a beautiful routine, but there was a slight shift around with those feet. She was trying to cover it, but the judges did see it.
I still think she's happy with the performance.
I think she is.
And that is a look at Mark Cook. He's in his 14th season with the team. Got their first NCAA individual champion back in 2014 with Catherine Grable.
And that was Sydnie Snead on vault, freshman who is really bringing in a lot of talent to this Georgia team. Talent and energy. I got my eye on her for this year.
Dan anticipates as her back gets stronger, because she's dealing with some back issues. She gets some meets under her belt, she will upgrade that vault.
And you would never know it by watching her today.
Stephani Canizaro, the senior, has improved a lot on bars. Mark Cook told us that drill work has really helped her out, and she's been doing a nice job hitting her dismount double layout.
When he talks about drill work, it's just a repetition of the same skill over and over and over again to get it right when it's time. A little bit short on that shoot over. That's the handstand you're looking for. Wow, Melissa, from last year, that is huge improvement. Beautiful start to the finish.
That might be their best score so far on bars. Freier with a 9.85, Glover with a 9.775. What do you think it score-wise there?
It was a beautiful routine except for the shoot over to the low bar. She was piked over, so there will be a heavy deduction on that.
GiGi Marino ready to go on vault. Got a 9.3 on vault last week and looking to improve tonight.
1.5, she did it. She sat it down last week, was going for the stick. When they do not let the block off that table happen first and they twist a little early, they sit it down. She did not do that tonight.
Sometimes you try too hard for the stick and it hurts you. Not tonight though.
You have to go for the execution before, and that stick will just drop down for you.
So on vault for Georgia, 9.825 for Broussard, Vaculik with a 9.825, and Snead with a 9.85. She just continues to impress. And Canizaro, by the way, a 9.875 on bars. That is a career high for her, as we see Amanda Wellick. And this is a young lady that is doing it all for the Gymbacks this season.
She is so balanced on each event. Bars I would say would be her weakest event. She is still a very strong competitor. Doesn't have quite the difficulty of others, but that release there, that was a Takachev. The height really helps her catch.
Gotta make sure she's not late on the Higgins.
Oh, that element before, like Melissa had said, is a Higgins, and the turning she did was a little bit late. Was not able to get her dismount speed like she typically does, and that just sat it down. Look at that height. Really helped her through to that kip cast handstand to get it up. And there you can see she just didn't have enough rotation to get it around.
Brittany Rogers ready to go on vault for Georgia. Another one of the 3 gym dogs with that 10-0 start value.
That vault, she has been competing it for a couple years. It isn't her first time just because the rules have changed. It's the only vault worth a 10.0. She has been competing it, but it's gotten better, Melissa. Her form is definitely improved.
Now the Yurchenko 1.5, much better again this year, getting that 10.0 start value with the devaluation of the Yurchenko full. Georgia already well ahead of the game with 3 gymnasts who will throw out the 1.5 this year. Braie Speed back from injury, as we mentioned earlier when she was vaulting to start this one off. It's a really nice bar routine with a toe full double tuck into a dismount. She just needs to be clean and consistent.
Right, she was a freshman last year that they were really hoping to get her out there and compete. So you know she is ready for this. A little bit of nerves, a little shaky on the event right now. Good handstand right before this dismount.
Wow.
And because because she only did a double back off the bar, she had to perform an element of some twisting beforehand. And when you're doing a double back off the bars, you want to stick it. If you're not throwing the difficulty, the landing is even more important.
And a deep breath on the other side for Brandie Jay, the senior for Georgia. She's got the Yurchenko 1.5 the last couple of seasons, so already pretty good with it.
She stuck the landing in warm-up. Can she do it again?
Yes!
Okay, that was a gorgeous vault, Melissa. I really did not see what they're going to take off of it. There's your height. Maybe a little bit of a leg separation or knee bend. I don't know. There might have been something. But other than that, it was perfect.
So far, it's a 9.825, a 9.825, a 9.85, 9.875. Rogers with a 9.875. Still waiting on the score for Brandie Jay, but a fantastic vault rotation for Georgia. Paige Zaziski now will round things out on bars for Arkansas. Same routine from last year, doing a nice job hitting her handstands. Has a big Tkachev coming up.
There's the Tkachev. See how high that goes. She has the swing. She was definitely a little bit nervous coming in as her freshman, hoping to see big things from her here on a dismount. Her double layout.
Yes.
The landings are here tonight, Melissa. A little bit of a wobble. But for the beginning of the season, the second meet, that's a big deal.
The score's building down the lineup for Arkansas.
Her double layout, slight legs coming apart, but again, the judges are from the side, so sometimes, unfortunately, they do not see that.
So, by the way, we're going through scores. Brandie Jay, on that beautiful vault, scored a 9.95, a huge score. And to talk more about that with the head coach, Dana Durrani, is our Casey Smith.
Well, Coach, you said after the last meet that this team is resilient. So far, what have you seen from them?
Exactly that. Incredibly resilient. We had a couple of bad falls on bars. I said we were going to see what they were made of. They're unbelievable young women. And vault, GiGi struggled the entire warm-up. She just couldn't quite get it there, and she comes back and nails it. So I think it's about them trusting in themselves and being able to make small adjustments where they need to.
And speaking of vault, what an incredible rotation for your girls. How do you continue that momentum forward?
I think you just take it one step at a time, one routine at a time. So they're excited. They're incredibly enthusiastic, so we just need to move that to floor.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Rotation number 2 in the books. Can Georgia hang on to their lead? We will break down some of the big scores from this rotation when we come back. Back in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Georgia has extended their lead over Arkansas by a total of 98.575 to the Gymbacks 98.225. And after that second rotation, Courtney, skill and precision, what stood out to you?
There were some big skills that you will see at the Olympic level. But not only that, they were big, but they were done well, Melissa, and that's what you were looking for in college gymnastics.
And what you're looking for is a big score like you see at the bottom there for Brandie Jay. What a great way to anchor that rotation for her team, a huge score, a 9.95, which has helped her team extend this lead, and you see the smile on the face of Dana Durrani. There's a big reason why. 2, 3. So we are getting ready for this third rotation as we take a look at some of the scores for Arkansas, who also did pretty good on bars as well.
That's right, they have improved immensely from last year, just within their form. Their skills might be the same, but their form and how they're swinging is bringing in less deduction.
And let's take a look at Brandie Jay's vault. Now, we talked about the devaluation of the Yurchenko full, none here.
This is beautiful. It's a 1.5 Yurchenko with 1 layout, 1.5 twist. It's a blind landing, so it's harder to stick, and yet she's doing it the second meet of the season. Stephani Canizaro here. She has improved probably the most from this Arkansas team on the bars. That was her dismount, a double layout. Finished off a great routine.
When we come back, Georgia will have the 4. GiGi Marino trying to top her 9.9 from a week ago, and Sydnie Dillard will set the tone in the leadoff spot on beam for Arkansas. for you starting at 6 Eastern with Alabama taking on Vanderbilt. Then at 8:30, the Razorbacks take on super freshman Ben Simmons and the LSU Tigers. Both games also streaming live on Watch ESPN and ESPN app. Here in Fayetteville, it's the Georgia Gymdogs on top of Arkansas with a score of 98-75 to Arkansas's 98-225. Georgia, of course, has a rich tradition in this sport, 10 national titles, all under the guidance of former head coach Suzanne Yachtland. She was at the helm of the program for 26 years, and not only did she win 10 titles, she took home 5 consecutive NCAA championships leading up to her retirement in 2009. Also has 16 SEC titles. Truly a legend and a perfect 10 during her time in Athens, and Casey Smith has more.
Well, Melissa, you're absolutely right about the legend that Coach Yachtland left at Georgia. And in October, during Georgia's homecoming, they unveiled this gorgeous statue to honor her and the journey to the perfect 10. Of course, speaking of the 10 championships that she did win while she was the head coach at Georgia, she said that it was just a testament to the mission of this team, to a building of a program. And Courtney, I know you know a little bit about that. And weren't you there for the unveiling of that statue?
That's right. So many alumni were here because she not only was an amazing head coach, but she was great in all of our lives.
Well, in this rotation, Georgia will move to floor. Arkansas on beam. Who do we need to keep an eye on for?
Sydnie Dillard. Now, she's first up to set the tone in consistency. And GiGi Marino on floor. Watch the power in her tumbling.
Georgia on the floor. Arkansas, they had to count a fall in their Cancun opener. Both teams having to count falls on beam. And we'll see if they can clean things up here today.
That's right, and Sydnie is a consistent athlete for this team. She's typically last up in the lineup because of her abilities. Now they have put her first to start off this team strong with the confidence that she has.
Anna Durante told us that even with the falls on beam, these kids kept their heads up high, and that was promising for her.
So far, this was a good decision on Coach Cook's part. It's difficult to go first up when you're typically last. You have less time to get ready, but she is solid.
So Dillard trying to clean things up. So far, so good.
You'll notice after each element, she has not moved, and that's where the deductions come into play, is when you have a slight check or bobble after each skill, and she has not had any. Dismount, round off 1.5.
Yes.
Stuck landing, Melissa. That's going to be a close one.
Wow.
That was pretty close to perfection. Her dismount was off to the side. You'll see the round off 1.5. You see it's not quite in line with that beam. That is a slight deduction. So maybe the judges didn't see. They are on the side.
Sure. But it's a good start nonetheless for Arkansas.
An amazing start. This is really going to get them going.
And this is a look at Sydnie Snead, who will get things going for Georgia on floor. A beautiful performer, very confident, great in the leadoff spot for the Dogs.
She really is. Her tumbling is great here. You see the whip back to 2 back handsprings, double back. She's capable of more difficulty there, but because of her injury coming in, they just really wanted to get her in.
Sure.
And solid.
They don't want to take a chance on another injury happening.
Front 1.5, you see to that split jump. Her front leg wasn't quite up in a 180-degree split, so the judges will take note of that. But floor isn't just about that tumbling, it's also about the dance and the artistry that they can bring.
And to show you're having fun out there, right?
That's right, and their personality. I love when it really is individualized to them. They're doing a Go Dogs in every routine this year, and that was hers. Just this last pass. double pike. You see that mat on the floor, and that was to help with her ankles, and she did land a little bit short. You saw her chest all the way down.
And you've got to keep that chest high, or you get the deduction.
That's right. The judges are really looking for chest up, no bend in your hips, and that really just comes from your takeoff. See that front leg a little bit low. And here's her double pike. Just didn't quite get that takeoff she needed to get all the rotation around.
She might not have finished it off perfectly, but Dana Durante was happy with what the freshman was able to bring there in the leadoff spot. And now over to beam, Paige Zaziski. Very solid beam worker. Changed her dismount in the offseason from a round off, layout 1.5, twist off the end to a gainer full off the side.
And that is because the 1.5, like you saw Sydnie do, is just more difficult to land. And she was taking too many steps. You really want to have those landings stuck. And this gainer full will hopefully help her to do that.
The fewer deductions, the better.
That's right. Well, so this team just looks so confident on the beam today. In their demeanor and how they're performing these skills, they're really being aggressive.
Sydnie Dillard got him started off with a 9.875 score. That'll make you feel confident.
That's right. I'm sure it was just in that dismount because I didn't see anything else in that beam routine wrong.
Anything wrong here with Zaziski so far?
Just that first element she did, you could see there was a slight hesitation and wobble. And here's that new dismount.
Nice.
She does have a little bit of pike in that dismount, and that is what they're looking for. If it's a layout, you want it to be a straight position all the way around. There it is. She goes up, and you see just the pike happens a little bit too early for that landing. So although she didn't step, there's still a slight deduction.
So waiting on her scores. Take a look at Vivi Babalis, the sophomore, ready to go on floor. Somebody Dana calls a firecracker. And here's a look at some of the points of emphasis in the floor exercise.
That's right. You're looking for the variety. They perform 3 different types of flipping moves. Flipping, twisting, forward, or backward. The judges will look to see that they reach the appropriate height in the air with a clean body position, and they want a controlled landing, like that just right there.
Somebody that floor comes very easy for her, and because of that, she's really itching to upgrade her skills, but has been hampered by an elbow injury. Missed some training time in the fall.
Second pass, front layout to a front full, and those 3 steps there, it's a deduction per step. So that's not going to be fun on her score.
And you've noticed her routine so far, her elbow not taking a beating at all. She's barely touching the floor with her hands.
That's right, and that was a way for them to create her tumbling passes so that she wouldn't have to do that, and yet she could still compete and get all the elements she needed in her floor routine.
She's trying to follow up a 9.775 from Sydnie Snead, who got the dog started.
Round up double pike again. You didn't see her do a back handspring you typically see. So she landed all 3 passes on her feet, but there were slight deductions that she'll just need to continue to clean up.
So over on beam for Arkansas, Amanda Wellick will try to add to so far what has been some pretty good scores for the team. 9.875 for Dillard and a 9.875 for Zaziski, as we are awaiting the score from Vivi and the floor exercise. Wellick has been very consistent, keeping this routine clean from the aerial walkover to the round off double dismount. But what is the key to maintaining consistency in this event, Courtney?
It's really all up in your head. It's a mental game for the balance beam. And that's where this team so far has really plugged in. This week in the gym, they also did some distraction routines where the girls yelled, put music up, threw things, just to help the girls so they had to focus on everything they were doing and not let anything around them affect their skills.
And that was to help after the 2 falls on beam. She saved it there. 2 falls on beam in Cancun 2 weeks ago. And they had a lot of time to kind of rework the lineup and as you said, go back into practice and sort of go back to the drawing board.
There's her single element, finally back on track to who Amanda really is on this balance beam. All she has left is her dismount. Double full, right in line with the balance beam. That's how you finish. She struggled a little bit in the beginning there, but she was able to handle herself very well. And here's her single element that is required in her dismount, the round off with a double full, a more difficult
face working here today. GiGi Marino now did very well on floor last week. Dana told us she's another one that floor comes easy to. She's got a lot of power. That's her strength. Just needs to clean up 1 or 2 things. And Dana expects that score will hold steady at 9-9 or better.
And that first tumbling pass is why. That is a difficult pass, a double layout. But not only that, like we've been talking about all night, if you're doing the big skills, you need to do them well.
It's high risk, high reward.
That's right.
Sometimes coaches will eliminate the bigger skills to keep it clean.
There you see a 1.5 back layout to a punch front layout. Doing some connection there of her saltos. Now here comes her last pass, and the beginning of the season is where the last pass feels the most difficult. You really have to get that energy up, and that did not affect her there. You can see her chest was upright. The landing is exactly what you're looking for.
And that last pass is hard because you get tired out there.
That's right. Take a look again at her last pass, a double pike. Beautiful height, and just the way she lands that. Her chest was completely up, a controlled step backward. There's no deduction in the landing there.
So far for Georgia on floor, a 9.775 for Snead and a 9.725 for Vivi. And for Arkansas on beam, it's a 9.875, a 9.875, and a 9.8 for Amanda Wellick's performance. And this is a look at Erin Freier, the senior. And he's moved her around the lineup for this meet. Coach Cook did. She's just been a little inconsistent at times and just wants her to not focus on the pressure that at times comes with being a leadoff, right?
That's right, the leadoff position is probably one of the most difficult positions in the entire meet. You have to be ready within 20 seconds of getting from another event. And it's the event that really causes a chain reaction. If the first routine is strong and solid, it seems that the rest of your lineup will follow suit. This is her series, the back handspring layouts.
She is long and lean, really clean lines, really pretty up there.
And you know, Mark Cook said she's inconsistent sometimes, she's a little jittery. I do not see the jitters tonight. I also love how she finishes her scales and waits for a second. She tells the judge, I've completed it, there's nothing wrong on this landing. You saw a slight pause in between those dance elements. You really want to make sure, going from one jump to the next, that they're connected with no pause. Just a gainer full up the side. She was a little sideways, but she is happy because she stayed on that balance beam, and that is the name of the game tonight, staying on the beam.
She will sell it at the end. And another look at that dismount and selling it, and her teammates' reaction after all was said and done.
There you go, and that's what you want. You really need to be invested in your teammates when they're going, and they sure are tonight.
Mary Beth Box averages a 9.9 on floor. She's got a little spunk and some attitude there.
Her personality really shines through in this floor routine.
Anna told us she's a great ambassador for what floor should look like. With a 9.9 to start the season last week, I'd say the judges agree.
Double pike to open, beautiful height in the air, and great landing so far.
And what's maybe most exciting about her is she's got some upgrades in the tank to come this season, training a front handspring double front.
That's right, the front handspring double front would most likely go in that first pass position, but you know what? She doesn't really need that difficulty added, but it's something that most gymnasts want to do. If they can add it, they want to. Beautiful leaps there, that's another requirement in their floor routine.
GiGi Marino before her, by the way, with a 9.85. Scores building on floor for Georgia.
So far, she's been clean on each pass with those controlled landings. Her third tumbling pass, a double back. Oh, she might have been a little bit close to that line.
So another great finish for Georgia here. For Mary Beth Box, both teams looking pretty good in this third rotation. And on the beam for Arkansas, again, they had 2 falls in Cancun. So far, none in here today. And Casey Smith is seeing some ice water in the veins on that side of the floor.
Absolutely, Melissa. Mark Cook told us when we talked to him this week that the mental focus on the beam was something that he really emphasized with his team throughout the week. But over here on the sidelines, they're smiling, they're happy, they're relaxed. So far, looking good on this beam.
Does also help when you have that home court advantage, or the home floor advantage, if you will, as we take a look at the freshman Sydnie McGlone up on beam. She's making her beam debut here at Barnhill Arena for the Hogs tonight.
Nice. Solid start with her series, the back handspring layout.
Mark Cook told us she earned a spot in this lineup this week. Again, the competitor pushing everybody else in practice.
Practice is definitely important because you're not going to get in these beam lineups if you don't have it in practice. But there we see a slight pause between elements and then a wobble. Hopefully she can, there you go. You see her just shoot those arms down. She is not letting that stop her. Just the dismount left. Round off, another double full. She's in line with that beam, but you see she kind of stepped forward. That was a larger step, so there will be a higher deduction on that step.
But you got to get the first one out of the way on beam. Your freshman year, right, Courtney?
Beam is so tense and just, yes, you want to stay on, and she did. She looks quite relieved.
And before her, Erin Freier had a 9.85 on beam for Arkansas. And now Brittany Rogers ready to show us what she's got on the floor. She's been checking in with the Georgia coaches while she was in Canada, letting them know, hey, I'm ready for floor, guys, and boy, is she ever. She's got a beautiful double Arabian 1.5 front lay and double pike, and I can't wait to see it.
This first one, the double Arabian 1/2 to a double front. She had the height. You could see she had a little bit of extra bend in that landing. You don't want to bend too far down.
Dana says she can get up there with a double Arabian now. Just didn't quite get the height tonight.
She really can, but she has been working so hard in the gym. After she's done with her normal practice with the team, she has to stay and do extra.
Right.
Which is going to get difficult throughout this season.
That's to continue to work for the elite world, which she will go back to in the spring.
1.5 front layout. You could see it wasn't quite, there was a little bit of a change from that 1.5 to the front layout. A little bit of a bend.
This is a routine she choreographed herself, adding those elite skills and some things from the past. She was ready to rock it on floor and said, almost like, put me in, coach. I got to go. Let's get this done.
And when you have athletes itching to get out there, it really just helps build and push everyone else on your team because everyone's fighting to get in that lineup. A good finish for her. She lifted that front foot slightly on her landing.
So much difficulty in that routine as we go back to look at the trouble she had with the double Arabian on the first pass.
There you go. You kind of, her legs separate in the air, which is called a cowboy. And then you see that's which really caused her to have that step. Then her last pass just didn't quite get the height off that back handspring into the air. Caused her to lift that foot. She's definitely not the happiest with that routine.
So Samantha Nelson up on beam now. Following the 9.45 from Sydnie McGlone, a score they're hoping they can drop Arkansas. Mark Cook likes this beam routine. Some nice big jumps in it. Just a few inconsistencies for her, trying to clean them up tonight.
See her talking to herself a little bit before she goes on that back handspring layout. And those are usually key words the gymnasts have. Beam is so mental. You really want to have something to tell yourself to remember so you don't get ahead of yourself.
So did you have any special key code words, or can you even share them with us?
It was mostly just stay tight. Squeeze your bottom when in doubt. A nice single element. She does a punch front, which you don't see as often. But she is serious. That face, she is determined here.
So far, it's been clean, no falls yet. For Arkansas, again, they had 2. Looking for a big fat 0 on that end tonight, and so far so good as she finishes it off here.
Round up 1.5. Just a slight hop on that landing. They really need to keep that energy that had going. And there's her punch front. It's a single element. She does not use her hands, as you can see. That's required for them to each complete on the balance beam.
Now rounding things out on the floor for Georgia, Brandie Jay. She struggled on floor last week, fell on her front double full punch front, which Dana thought was odd because she doesn't miss that in training.
When you do something like that, when you miss a pass or a skill in the meet that you don't typically do, you just need to brush it off and get back out there. If it's not typical, don't put energy toward it.
Dana said she could correct it in practice, had just gotten a little ahead of herself. All smiles here tonight thus far.
And here it is coming up. Handspring front double full to the punch front. Beautiful tonight. She really made sure I'm not doing that same mistake again.
Almost as if she got the hard part out of the way, and now the rest of it's fun. Although she does have the final pass coming up.
That's right. You never want to think you're done or finished with that routine until you salute those judges.
Before her, Brittany Rogers finished with a 9.75. A little disappointed in her performance tonight. Of course, Jay trying to finish this one off with a big score.
Her whip half to a front full. And she's happy with it. Take a look again at that second pass. It's a front handspring, front layout with 2 full twists into a punch front. It's a very, very difficult pass. If you're off slightly with that double full, that punch front is not going to be there.
Casey is standing by with Mark Cook. His team didn't have a single fall on beam, and they've gotten everything a 9.8 or better. They get to drop the Sydnie McGlone score of a 9.45.
Coach, you trained the lineup on the beam rotation tonight. How do you assess their performance?
Very, very pleased with the flow of that event. We had a couple little bobbles, but very, very much improved on that routines, on those routines in that flow.
You talked about mental toughness all week to your girls. How do you continue to do that throughout the rest of this meet?
Well, you just have to go to the floor and just put it all out there. There's one more event, you know, just have to be precise. We're very close with Georgia right now. I mean, if we go out there and perform well, we could possibly win this thing, and that's what we came here to do. We want to win.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It's a great meet so far. The final rotation, as you heard from Coach, will decide the outcome here. Rotation 4 on the way when we come back. But first, we follow the story of Ivy. A great night of gymnastics so far here on the SEC ESPN network, and the kickoff of Friday Night Heights. Arkansas has cut into this Georgia lead. The Gym Dogs up now by .25. Our score stand right now, Georgia 147-675 to Arkansas's 147-425, and they really cut that lead. Some struggles for Georgia on floor.
That's right, and this is huge for them now. They have the balance beam up. Any slight movement that they make that they don't want to, if there's a fall, it could be Arkansas's night.
And then, of course, Arkansas on beam, much improved from 2 weeks ago. No falls here tonight, and the lowest score they got to drop was a 9.45, and some of the inconsistencies we saw from the freshmen. And here's a great routine.
Sydnie Dillard, she really started them off strong and is what kept them going, finished off with a stuck landing, and the team really kept their energy up this entire rotation.
The final rotation will give us our outcome here. Georgia will have to battle the beam, and the Hogs will try and deliver once again on the floor. The anchors, Beth Box and Wellick, coming up, poised and ready for the finish. Saturday at 10:30 p.m. on SEC ESPN Network. Join our network analysts as they discuss all the SEC news of the day on SEC Now. Streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Fourth and final rotation about to begin here inside Barnhill Arena. Dana Durrani and Mark Cook have been coaching up their respective teams all night, and we had a chance to listen in as part of our SEC Wired initiative.
Be really tight, work your positions, swing your routines, good form, one thing at a time. All right, you guys are awesome. Let's get after it, okay? On 3, go bar. 1, 2, 3, go bar. It's okay, it's okay. It's all right.
Let's finish it our pace, our rhythm. Let's do it. Go Dogs on 3, 1, 2, 3, go Dogs!
And I know that's taking Courtney Kupets-Carter back to her collegiate days. Beth Box, Amanda Wellick will try to put the exclamation point on this meet for their respective teams, and there's a good reason why they're the anchors for their team.
That's right, Amanda Wellick. Watch for her dynamic passes to get top scores. Beth Box, she is aggressive, and what gets her to stay on that balance beam.
Georgia's beam lineup had a count of fall last week, but Dana's really kept the lineup the same for the most part, and again, just trying to instill some confidence within her gymnasts.
That's right, and Ashlyn last week was first up. Like we talked about, she hasn't been first up in her years previous. So it really rushed her when she got on the beam. She didn't have enough time, and it affected her performance. She's got one meet under her belt. Let's see if she can improve this week. A slight lean forward there. That is a wobble, going to be a deduction.
She was one that had the fall in the Michigan meet.
They really do need to get into their rhythm, though. It makes a big difference just to stay on their pace. They get a little bit ahead or think toward a different skill than they're on. It really takes them off the beam usually. Her gainer full up the side, stuck that landing. This is a different beam tonight, Melissa. I think they changed it out.
I think so, and we always know how difficult beam is here at Barnhill Arena, but so far Arkansas hasn't been affected, and Ashlyn Broussard certainly not affected either.
That was a great lead off for this Georgia team.
Sydnie Dillard will go first on floor for Arkansas. And Coach Cook called her a rock star when we talked to him earlier this week. Hasn't missed an event in 2 years, so steady and consistent. And he said, you know, she's not the most powerful tumbler. She's more of a twister, but she has super clean lines, clean dance, and that's where she scores big.
That's right. Melissa, it doesn't matter if you don't have the power. It's all about the execution. Front 1.5.
Again, Georgia with the 0.25 lead over Arkansas in this 4th rotation. So it is really going to come down to what these two teams put together on floor and beam.
And 0.25. That could be one small error from either of these two teams. They really need to be on point tonight. Front full, front layout to a nice jump. They are really trying hard not to give anything away. And 1 pass to go. Back 1.5 to front layout. And there she did it.
It is on.
There's a reason to smile after that one, Melissa.
Great starts for both teams in this 4th rotation.
And here's another look at her last pass. A 1.5 to front layout. And she knows she nailed it there.
Well, so far, so good for Georgia over on beam. Casey has more. Casey, what are you hearing?
Well, Melissa, Dana Durrani told us this week that she really has had a philosophy change as a coach this year. She really wants to ask the gymnasts questions first, how they feel, what they saw before focusing on the technical side of things. And she's been doing that all night here down on the floor, guys. She wants to get in the gymnast's head. She said it's been a great adjustment, just wanting to know what they see from their side of things.
She told us it's more about, instead of pushing the technical, Courtney, it was more about asking the gymnast, how are you? What are you doing? She said they know their bodies better than anybody.
That is a huge change and so important. These gymnasts, they're not going to have her when this meet is happening. She can't tell them what to do right now. They need to know in practice how to fix things, what to change. And that is big as a coach, to want to be able to change and do different things for the athletes.
Vivi Babalis, number 2 up on beam for Georgia, trying to keep it going after a good start.
Has had a few wobbles so far and a few skills.
Remember, she's got that elbow injury, so she's doing the whole routine.
There you see again with no hand on the dismount. Stuck the landing, so no deduction taken there. Just few things within that balance beam routine.
So knowing she didn't use any hands there, how much more difficult was that routine?
There you go, that's the dismount, the front full. And you see everyone behind her just really excited. Wasn't probably her best routine she's done, but what they need right now. Hopefully it's one they drop.
Stephani Canizaro, the senior, had a rough start on floor in Cancun, had 2 poor tumbling passes, but Mark Cook also knows she's working with a bit of a back problem for a preseason injury. And like a lot of gymnasts, Courtney, you know, she does better in training, just trying to look for that to translate into competition.
Right, that's huge. Training is important, but you have to be able to practice what you compete. And there you go, that's a great start for Stephani.
That was beautiful, nice amplitude.
What you're looking for is the height on these passes, their legs to be together on everything they do, and again, those landings. Every 10th counts here tonight. Stepped back with 1. That is a deduction, even though it kind of didn't look like it.
At least she kept the foot in bounds.
That's right. That would be another 10th, which would be huge at this point, with them being so close.
Dillard got them off to a 9-8 score. Good start for them.
Taking a deep breath there before she finishes out this floor routine. And there you go, that's how you want to finish. Beautiful, clean lines in the tumbling and a solid landing. Take a look again at some of these passes. Her round off back handspring, that is a double pike, great difficulty, and that is an impeccable landing. The 1.5 connected straight into that front layout. It's a blind. And again, those are the landings they're looking for with a meet so tight like this.
Now we've got Rachel Schick up on beam. Her average is a 9.15 against. She's had some issues in this event. And the meet so tight, can't afford a fall, and that was a big body check there.
That's right. You'd rather have the body checks than the fall, but they
Sure.
really need to tighten up in this beam lineup. There you go. That is more like Rachel on this event.
The score so far, a 9.875 from Broussard. Vivi with a 9.625.
Looks like after that first wobble, she kind of checked herself, and she's been doing great ever since. Every landing so far since has been clean. You can hear her teammates. They know that is her last element before her dismount, but she is not done. So she's nailed it, but this dismount is still so important. Cartwheel, gainer full. No deduction on that dismount. So other than that first wobble, she did a great job. And here's that dismount again. Cartwheel right into that gainer full. Great distance from that beam. You don't want to be too close when you land. And Dana's definitely excited.
Well, what she loves so much about this team so early in the season is you can have a mistake, but it's how you bounce back from that mistake. And these kids have bounced back huge thus far. Bodes well for the future. On floor now for Arkansas, Leah MacMoyle. Added to the floor lineup this year for the first time in her career.
That's right.
Tumbling is very powerful. She's also got some nice dancing too, which we will see.
Kind of like being a freshman again. First time on floor, double pike. Look at how she did not put that foot down. She finished that double pike. If she had put her heel down on that floor, she probably would have gone out of bounds. I don't know how she knew it was there.
Eyes in the back of her head, right?
Now, the reason she hadn't been in floor in some other events is because she had torn her Achilles tendon prior to coming to Arkansas, which really affects those pounding events. So they've been slowly bringing her back in.
She was on floor for the, vault for the majority of last season, and that was pretty much the primary event she had been doing in competition, not to say the event she was doing in training. But it's good to see the freshman a year older, a year wiser, and a year more confident.
Great finish. She went from 2 feet to her lunge, which is completely acceptable. And there she goes, her first college floor routine.
It was a good one.
And you know what? Not only is she excited, but all of her teammates are so excited for her right now. It's really going to help the rest of their lineup. That first tumbling pass, look at that heel. She didn't put it down.
Wow.
That was great.
The slow motion really showed it. Wow. Great awareness. Great awareness for the sophomore.
I wonder if she even knows.
By the way, on floor, it's a 9.8 for Dillard, a 9.825 for Canizaro. Should be a pretty good score there for the sophomore. And over on beam, Gracie Cherrey up now, following the 9.825 from Rachel Schick. Happens to be a career high for her.
And Gracie was one of those athletes that did fall on the beam last week. So she is looking to prove herself and show Dana that she can hit this routine.
Oh.
You know, she just didn't have enough takeoff from the back handspring into that layout, didn't get enough lift with her hips, and just came off. She really, it's important now, Melissa, that she stays strong with the rest of this routine, because Dana is watching. Will she put her back in the lineup after making another mistake?
Well, she said it's all about the technical cues. Use your legs, use your arms. She's trying to salvage the routine here. Obviously, Georgia hoping that this will be it. No more falls, and that this can be the score that they can drop. Again, they've got a .25 lead heading into this fourth rotation and have been leading the entire way, but Arkansas has been building.
Oh, you can see her just shaking a little bit, but she is definitely holding on strong. When you start to make mistakes, you tend to tighten up and you don't let them go like they typically do. You need to be more aggressive on the balance beam. Round off 1.5. So she was able to finish off well. A little disappointing. I want to take a look again at the fall she had, that back handspring into that layout. You can just see her legs weren't quite tight enough, didn't get that lift that Dana had been talking about. And there's her foot, it didn't even make it on the beam.
So far, not even counting Cherrey's score. Arkansas now down just .075.
This is getting so close, Melissa. And here we go. This is Samantha Nelson. She's a junior. She has experience on this event. Good double pike in the air. She did have quite a large lunge, slid her foot a little bit, and now we're looking at every 10th, Melissa, so that will be something that will be deducted.
Yeah, typically she is pretty high on that double pike. She'll end with a double top, so now it's just like you said, staying focused, getting every single one of those 10s.
But you know what? Even though they do need to be really focused on what they're doing, they need to do their routine like they do. They can't focus too much, or that's when the mistakes start to come. And there you go. That's what you want to see. The form in her twist and that landing. Nothing wrong.
And the great thing about gymnastics is that Arkansas is not even paying attention to Georgia and their score, so they probably have no idea how close this meet has become.
They just know they need to keep it going. It is easier on floor, though, to have that energy. Double pack for, oh, wow. Great landing there. This is just going to keep getting better on floor.
What a great finish for Samantha Nelson, the junior from Massachusetts. Right now on floor, the scores have been a 9.8 for Dillard, a 9.825 for Canizaro, a 9.875 for MacMoyle, and expect a big one for Nelson. So Brittany Rogers now needs a 9.75 on beam to win the all-around here tonight.
Hopefully she gets a lot better than that, because this Georgia team really needs her to perform her beam like she can.
And again, she's been doubling up, as we have mentioned earlier in the broadcast, on the skills for her Georgia routines and the skills she will need when she heads back to the elite world in the spring. She has been handling it well, but she's had a little bit of a rough night at times tonight.
It does seem that way, Melissa. Little errors here and there, so she hasn't had one big mistake.
Sure.
But these little ones add up, and you know she's very disappointed. So for her, she needs to forget about those other mistakes and really focus on her beam tonight. Setting up for her back handspring layout. You can see that front foot kind of move a little bit, but she is fighting so much on this beam routine.
They're hoping they can drop the 9.225 from Gracie Cherrey and her fall.
There you go. She's starting to tighten up a little bit. She's supposed to hold that element for 1 to 2 seconds before she comes down.
Did she get the full time on the hold?
It didn't look like she did. That's not necessarily a requirement, but because they did notice that it was a mistake, They will deduct. Finished off strong. She's relieved. She made it through. Watch that dismount to finish it off. The 1.5 blind landing. Great way to end. Let's see what Dana does. She's
very happy with the finish.
They know that's what they need.
You can read her lips. She said, come on, baby. Trying to get her to finish off strong to keep the lead. And it's a slight edge for Georgia. As we take a look at the freshman, Sydnie McGlone. She struggled on beam, trying to bounce back here on floor. And this coaching staff really, really likes this routine.
Opens with that double pike. Oh!
And
did
that
they
was a
raise
step out
the
of
flags?
bounds.
Yes, they
it looks
did.
like, yes, she did.
So she had a few steps and a step out of bounds. The step out of bounds is an extra 10. So she really needs to be tight and clean on the rest of these tumbling passes. Two and a half. Now that was beautiful. The height, her body position in the air. There was no bend, no leg separation. Just needs to continue with one more tumbling pass.
Well, if this is the score that Arkansas can drop, they have nothing worse than a 9-8. And Amanda Wellick still hasn't gone yet.
That's right, Amanda Wellick definitely is capable of a big score. She's scored a 9.95 in the past. So that is her potential level. There you go, definitely finishing off strong after that first tumbling pass, which is important. But like you said, Melissa, this is the routine they would want to drop. Taking a look again at when she goes out of bounds. She does her double pike, great height, just does not have that tight landing. Oh, and look at those heels just go right over, tosses her out. She's definitely disappointed, but she stayed strong with her last two passes.
Well, Brittany Rogers, by the way, did lock down the all-around title tonight, clinching with a 9-9 on beam. So not a lot of deductions in that routine tonight from the judges.
That's right, after you have a small mistake, you just tighten up. She was able to keep consistent. That's one thing actually about Mary Beth I love is how aggressive she is with this beam routine. You see some girls are strong and they're solid, but you can tell Mary Beth is aggressive with how she moves.
And remember, she's one now that will keep that moonwalk tradition alive on beam this season. It's a lot of fun to watch her do it.
It's great how you can link the past to the present. Nikki Childs was actually the first one that did the moonwalk.
And we've seen it every year since. There it is. She did struggle in the anchor position a few times last year, but Dana Durante has had the confidence in her to pull it off and pull off some big scores this year. We'll see if she can do it here.
That is a front aerial to scale. Now that is more difficult because instead of putting that front foot down, she holds it up and then puts it right behind her. Round up 1.5. Oh, chest slightly forward, but that is what this team needed to finish off the beam lineup.
Very, very happy with that routine. Mary Beth Box rounding things off nicely for Georgia on beam after they got off to a rocky start. They only had the one fall, and they will drop that score.
That is great for them. They did have some wobbles here and there, things they can clean up, but it's still early in the season. They're just happy that they didn't have to count a fall.
So on beam, it was a 9.875, 9.625, 9.825. The 9.9 from Rogers, and still awaiting the score for Mary Beth Box. Amanda Wellick now will finish this meet off on floor, and she'll perform an E-pass to open up this floor routine.
That's right. When you say E-pass, it's a level of difficulty that she has created. And it's the highest they perform at this level. She didn't quite do it there. She stuck with her double pike. Might have been a choice to keep it clean.
She really sets the tone for this team, trains hard, sometimes does more numbers than she needs to. All 4 events are balanced. We have mentioned that so many times with her. She's so confident, and she's just a junior. They get her back.
Front handspring, front fold to front layout. Not only does she set the tone, but she's so clean with everything she does.
By the way, Beth Box over on beam had the 9.875. So Wellick really needs a big score here after the 9.7 from Sydnie McGlone. At 9.975, she needs to pull off here for the win.
Great double back landing. 9.975 is probably not likely tonight for that routine. But what a night for them. Take a look again at her first tumbling pass. She did her double pike tonight. Beautiful height, great landing. It will be a great score. I'm just not sure she's gonna get what they need for the win.
Brittany Rogers, of course, took home the all-around title today. Kisses to the camera, and why not? She, at times, as we mentioned, had a little bit of struggles on occasion in rotations, but again, you got to look at the scores there. The worst one was on floor, and it was a 9.75.
It's funny how we say she had small struggles. It's just we're used to seeing
Correct.
Brittany Rogers be almost perfect on every single event. So for her to have small wobbles and deductions here and there, it's just not her typical self.
And Amanda Wellick, by the way, finished with a 9.9, short of the 9.975 Arkansas needed to pull the come-from-behind victory here today. So Georgia is victorious. They pick up their first victory of the season.
And you know what? That is something that Dana can be proud of because she's stuck with her lineups. Typically, if you make a mistake and you fall, you really do want to change your lineups. But Dana said, no, I'm going to give them one more chance to see what we can do.
Oh, it's Georgia victorious, 196.775 to Arkansas's 196.7. We've got final thoughts on this meet when we come back.
Hey, you know what? This is a start. This is a start. I see you believing in each other and in yourself. It's a start, and we are so far from the top. Let's keep going. Monday, another shot. Another shot. More, and we're at home with the best fans in the country. Let's show them what this team is made of. Awesome. So proud of you.
She is proud of this team, and she should be. They are victorious over Arkansas with a 196.775 to Arkansas's 196.7. And standing by with more is Casey Smith, who is with Brittany Rogers.
Brittany, nearly perfect on every event for you tonight. How does it feel to get this one over with?
I mean, it's not necessarily over with. It's more of something to put in my pocket, and it's really special coming back after, I mean, I had a shaky warm-up, and coming back and proving to myself that I believe in myself and I trust myself, and my team was behind me 100%. Like I said, it's not about getting over with, it's about building on it. So I'm really excited for next week and this whole season.
And you were last on the beam, knowing how close this meet was. What was going through your head in that moment?
Honestly, my mentality on beam right now is just gymnastics, and I've done these skills for so long, and just to go every skill at a time, and I try not to think about the pressure on me because I know I can hit a routine as best as I can, and that's kind of what I say to myself is just do what you do every day.
Thank you so much. Melissa?
Thank you, Casey. And Brittany Rogers with a 39.425 all-around score to take home the all-around title here tonight. Melissa Lee alongside Courtney Kupets-Carter. Your impressions of the meet tonight?
I think tonight was a big improvement for both of these teams. Their overall scores were over a point better than their first competition. That is huge, Melissa. And I think for Arkansas, it was bars. The way they performed tonight, the clean lines, and getting those landings. And I think for Georgia, Brandie Jay on vault was huge for them to start the night.
So Dana Durante and Georgia, we mentioned she changed up the coaching style, and it has worked so far here tonight. Proud of her girls, and she should be as they pick up their first SEC win of the season here over the 16th ranked Arkansas Gymbacks. So for Courtney Kupets-Carter and Casey Smith, I'm Melissa Lee. We are saying so long from Fayetteville, Arkansas, where the final score is Georgia with the win, 196-75 to Arkansas's 196-7. Coming up next, encore of the playoff national championship.